Hello everyone, welcome. I'm Professor Rodriguez and today I would like to teach you how to transfer your files from your local server into the Google Cloud Platform's server without having to go through all the different commands in the command line, right? If you're not comfortable with that yet, ideally you should learn it eventually, but right now I know we're rushing here to finish this semester, so this should be a quick way to get this done. Now, if you are not my student and you got here to this video, in order for this to work, you need to have a Google Cloud Platform virtual machine. That's what I'm going to guide you through how to use that with FileZilla and um, PuttyGen. So if you don't have that, um, you can watch the previous video and set up your environment. If you already have your environment set up, then you can follow this video as well. Okay, so let me switch back over here and we're going again. I have the Google Cloud tutorial that I modified from the community, and what I'm going to do is right now we're going to start here on step number 4. That's how far we've gotten. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is we want to make sure we are in our VM instance. If you just came from the previous video, then you're good to go. You should already be there. However, if you're not, then we want to make sure, let me go from the start. We go to cloud.google.com and then from here, make sure you're in the right account and I'm going to click on console. Once I click on console, I'm gonna click on the navigation menu, compute engine, and we're gonna go back to our VM instances. Takes a little bit to load, but once it's loaded, there we go, we have our instance here. I'm going to SSH into my instance, which we already prepared on the previous video. We'll give it a second to load. And now that it's loaded, then we can change the permission for the var www html path. All right. Now, be aware, sudo chmod 777. I'm literally opening write, read, and execute permissions for everybody. All right, this is not safe. All right. However, this is the way that I've found as part of another tutorial, right? This is the way that I've been using so far in this class, and we don't have a lot of time, so I don't have time to research a safer way at this moment, right? In order to work with FileZilla. So this is the way I found to make it work for now. What you should do is once you upload everything that you want, if you want this to be a live server, is then change back your chmod to maybe 755, because that will remove the execute permission from other people. All right, it'll make it a bit safer. But in the future, I'm gonna re-upload this tutorial with a method that doesn't put you at risk at all. All right, so you don't want to close this VM instance. I'm gonna put my tutorial here on the side so we can follow along. So the first thing you want to do is you want to go to filezilla-project.org in order to download FileZilla. Now, I'm suggesting FileZilla, but you could use other things like WinSCP, or you could use, um, um, I forgot the name of the other software, Duck something. Uh, anyway, there's different ones that you can use. Uh, And you're gonna click on download FileZilla client, not server, and you can download it right there. Notice mine is for Windows 64. It already identified it. However, if you need a different version, they have icons here that you can click on to get to that version. So download it and install it. Right, I already have installed, so I'm not going to do it, but you just click on download button and you go there. Now the next part, it depends on your platform. If you have a Windows machine, you're gonna use PuttyGen. And actually, in this website, they also have instructions for Linux and Mac. So just make sure to follow those instructions. However, if you have a Mac, I did provide the instructions for you directly. Just press on that link on the document for the tutorial, and it's gonna bring you to a documentation of how to create it that I found was a little bit more user friendly. Notice that whenever you create your files, you're gonna have them in two places: home username.sshid_rsa and the home username.sshid_rsa pub. Pub is your public key. The other RSA is going to be your private key. All right. Um, so you want to scroll down for those of you who are in Windows until you find PuttyGen. That's the one you want, PuttyGen.executable and 30-bit or 64 depending on your operating system. You want to click on that and run to install it. So once you have that in, just go back here to my browser, then to my desktop. We're gonna start with PuttyGen. So on PuttyGen, basically you just need to click on generate. What generate will do, it will create what we call an RSA key. It's an encryption key. So now you have an encryption key over here. We want to change the key comment to something that's more useful. I'm going to type J Rodriguez. Basically, it's your username that you want to use. So I want to use J Rodriguez. And you type your passphrase twice to confirm. Okay, so once you've done that, you can save your public key. Notice I already had one. I'm gonna overwrite it. And you save your private key. The private key should be a PPK file. All right, the PPK file we're gonna need to use in order to get it going. Now, what you should do then is copy that copy that SSH um, key, public key that got generated. So the public key, the way it works is you provide these to other people, right? So they have a public key, and if they want to establish a connection with you, right? Or if you want to establish a connection with them, you provide your private key, and that will allow you to access that system or whatever it is that you're trying to do, right? So we have to set up that public key here in our cloud platform. So we're going to go to Google Cloud Platform again, and in the page with the compute engine, you're going to scroll down to settings until you see metadata. You're going to click on metadata, and you're going to wait until it loads. And once it's loaded, you're going to click on SSH keys. Notice I already have a bunch here from different tests. I should probably delete them if I'm not going to use it, but I can click on edit and add item. This will allow me to paste that SSH key and click on save. Once I click on save, now that public key is there, which means I can access it with my um, private key. Now, to access this, we're going to use Filezilla. And Filezilla is a system that allows you to see your local site and your remote site, basically, right? Both your computer, your own computer, and the computer that you're trying to access. So before we set anything up, we have to go into our settings and we have to click on SFTP. This should be the same on all platforms. Over here, I'm going to remove the key I already have, but you want to click on Add Key, and you want to browse your computer and find where you saved your file, right? So my file is private key tutorial, and that's it. It's now here. It's part of these, and I'll click OK. So it's part of Filezilla now. So Filezilla knows, your private key, and when you connect, it will try to match your private key to the public key. So then we can connect by typing the information right here. Host. The host is gonna be your VM instance information. That's the external IP addresses. So you type there the external IP address, and you type your username, the same one you put in the key comment, and the password, which is the passphrase that you also put on that um, PuttyGen that you generated. The port is gonna be 22. 22 is for secure file transfer protocol, and you can quick connect. The first time you do this, it's gonna say unknown host key. You could trust it if you want. I'll click OK, and then we'll ask for your password one more time. You can ask it to remember for you, and click OK. Next time you come in, you can actually click on this drop down arrow, and you can use one of the history um, ones, right? The history will allow you to go back to it. Now here, basically what loaded on the right side of the screen is it loaded our remote site information. So it's basically my Linux machine, right? So what I want to do is I want to go back where it says backslash, because that's the root folder. And under the root folder, I want to find the var folder, and then if I expand that, remember var www html. This is why we had to change the permissions so that you can get to this folder and add files in. Okay, so here it is. Notice index.html and hey.php that we created before, right? I'm also gonna go here to my xampp folder, xampp htdocs gg. gg is the website I want to copy. And I'm going to highlight these folders, and I'm just going to drag and drop here. If you don't know how to get to your website stuff, right, on your local server, then just go to the folder and you can drag and drop them here directly, um, from like without being in FileZilla. Notice it's gonna copy and it's gonna say, hey, your transfer is complete, right? So what I can do now is if I go to my website, oops, wrong place. All my videos are there. Uh, if I go to my website and I put /HTML, right? Because that's where the GG stuff is. Let's say home.php. Uh-oh, that's not the file. Sorry, it's called GG, not HTML. GG home.php. There we go. We have that Gamer Girls website that we created in class. I can try to log in right now, right? Um, let's say remember me and type the password. And notice that it's gonna go to a page that it's like, hey, we can't handle this request. So it gives me an HTTP error 500. The reason why this is happening is because it's trying to connect to the database, but hey, I didn't set up the database yet, right? So we get an issue over here. So we have to set up the database as well. So to set up the database, what's gonna happen is that we have to use xampp, or whatever you're using for your local server. I'm gonna start both. All right, and I'm gonna go to phpMyAdmin locally. So I use localhost phpMyAdmin. Give it a second to load, and there you go. We are in our localhost database. I'm going to click here on CIS 275 SP. That's the one that has my tables. And I'm going to click on export at the top. Once I click export, I just have to click on go, and it's gonna download a file that has our code. I'll say showing folder, and I'll open it with Notepad++. It doesn't matter where you open it. So here you go. Notice this is a MySQL code of how to create the table, the tables you need. I'm gonna copy this code. I press Ctrl C to copy, and I'm going to go to my phpMyAdmin on my website. So I use again my IP address /phpMyAdmin, and I log in with the password and username that we set up before. Notice I have full control over this. So I'm going to create a new database here called CIS275DB, the same name as before. Now that I have this database, I'm going to click on SQL, and I'm just going to paste that code. We'll click Go, and notice you should see a bunch of green check marks. This means the database was created. Not just the database with all the tables, but also all the contents of them, right? So now I can go back, and I can actually access that website. Oops, the index is still the same, /gg.home. Looks the same. If I go to the games page, it's not working. I know. I created the database with the wrong name. I'm sorry. New. It's not working because the database is wrong. It's CIS275SP21. That's the one we're connecting on the example. So we can click on SQL again and paste that code, and it's gonna go right into that database. So now that the database is right, we can go back to our website, refresh, and there you go. Those are the links created from the database directly. Oops, about us is wrong. I had a spelling mistake. About us should be uppercase, so I have to fix that on my website. But anyway, when I click login, now remember me. We created this in class ABC 123 exclamation. If I click OK, now I'm logged into the website. If I go to another page, I'm still logged in. I can go back and look at my profile page, and we can log out once we're done. And this is gonna go back to saying login. All right, so very simple. Just make sure everything's spelled correctly and everything set up exactly as it was on your local server, and you're good to go. That's all you have to do. All right. Um, so that's all. I hope that you learned something new today. And if you have any questions, don't forget you can email me or leave a comment down below and we'll answer it. All right. Take care, everyone.